Watching big tech, these capex figures that we got last week from all the hyperscalers are going to start feeding into the supplier earnings, which we're going to get over the next few weeks. Nvidia, Dell, Broadcom. Nvidia is up 3%. This is going to take you almost back to the 50-day, which it lost earlier in January. News out of onsemi today. Revenue was a bit light. That was down pre-market. You mentioned OpenAI, and they did say that they're working further on their custom chip design, which then they would outsource to TSMC, which is having its own issues regarding the earthquake in Taiwan. Guidance will be at the low, they'll be coming to the low end of guidance, they say. That's a healthy rebound for Nvidia.
Well, there was a positive call, too, on it today. Evercore says the DeepSeek sell-off creates an opportunity, quote, we're buyers into earnings. Tactical, obviously, but, you know, there's a fair debate happening on the street right now as to whether the big beat and raise days for Nvidia were over before DeepSeek, just because how can you possibly keep up? I'm not saying you can't beat and raise, but how do you beat and raise by that much continuously to keep the stock and the expectations where they have just been unbelievable? Now DeepSeek creates even more questions going in, but the stock sold off considerably and had a hard time recovering from that.
Yeah, I have to wonder, too, what it means for investment into China. There was that piece over the weekend, I believe, which talked about how the DeepSeek phenomenon has kind of reignited interest in investing in China. And this comes against the backdrop of everything we've seen with ByteDance and TikTok and all of the geopolitical issues. But you do have a incredible amount of talent in China, which is important for the tech ecosystem. And so just kind of what DeepSeek revealed about the potential for investing there in a way that really hasn't been the case over the last few years or so, is these tensions have simmered as the nations have decoupled as a result of just the competitive threat there, kind of reigniting the interest in investing in China. I thought was pretty interesting.
In an effort to support the tech sector as the major U.S. indexes sought to recover from Friday's losses, Nvidia's shares rose Monday, driving other chip firms higher. One of the top-performing equities on the Dow Jones Industrial Average, Nvidia's shares were up over 3% at 133.56 during intraday trade. Along with other semiconductor stocks like Broadcom, Advanced Micro Devices, Qualcomm, Western Digital, and Intel, the shares of numerous Nvidia partners, including Micron Technology, Dell, and Supermicro, also increased. With several of the other mega-cap members of the Magnificent Seven stocks also rising, the increase helped boost the IT industry as a whole. The S&P 500 rose 0.6%, the Dow increased by 0.2%, and the tech-heavy Nasdaq was up more than 1%. Prior to Nvidia's earnings report on February 26th, Evercore ISI analysts added the chipmaker to their tactical outperform list on Monday, citing a spike in revenue reported by partner TSMC as a possible driver for the stock's increases. The price target set by the experts was $190, which is about 40% higher than the intraday price on Monday. Despite recent volatility due to worries over the speed of big tech's AI spending, Visible Alpha polled analysts who have remained overwhelmingly bullish on the company and set an average target of $174, indicating a 30% upside. So, what implications does this have for Nvidia's stock? Let's explore that. But first, a big thank you to those of you who've stuck with us this far. Creating these videos takes significant effort and dedication, so if you're enjoying the content, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts on Nvidia stock in the comments. Your support truly helps us grow. Now, let's get back to the video.
The markets last week, or the week, I guess it was the week before last, was the DeepSeek story, DeepSeek AI. Original claims were that for a few $1 million, they were able to do stuff that it took our AI companies billions of dollars to do. Now there's new news that we're hearing. First of all, it cost more like $1.6 billion for them to come up with what they came up with. And their product, apparently it has an 83% fail rate. So it cost a lot more than they originally said, and the failure rate they weren't even talking about before is 83%.
The proof is in the pudding. $325 billion of collective spend on capex out of the hyperscalers subsequent to that DeepSeek news. You're talking about literally the smartest people in the room in terms of the Mag 7 and the big tech cohort, and they're putting money where their mouth is. So I think you want to continue to be in that space. You probably want to be in the digital infrastructure a la data center space above all. But the biggest takeaway from that DeepSeek moment was you have to be diversified. My clients that had their risks spread out didn't even bat an eyelash at that drawdown. So just don't put all your eggs in the AI basket.
Let's start with Nvidia. We were talking about it.
3% gain. They were added to Evercore's tactical outperform list, with the analysts there recommending buying Nvidia ahead of their earnings in about 2 weeks from now on the 26th.
ChatGPT was commercially released by OpenAI on November 30th, 2022. I see that date as the start of the continuing revolution in artificial intelligence, AI. Nvidia has experienced an incredible growth for a large portion of the past 2 years, unlike any other company. The market value of Nvidia increased by almost $3 trillion as a result of a 743% increase in its shares between November 30th, 2022 and January 24th, 2025. The investment community was enthralled by this quick ascent, which motivated them to literally buy Nvidia stock at any cost. Investors, as is frequently the case in such circumstances, start to focus solely on one side of the story, that the stock in question would continue to rise because nothing negative could possibly happen. However, as experienced investors know, the stock markets are constantly up to something. A Chinese startup named DeepSeek made its debut in the AI space at the end of January, claiming to have developed a platform comparable to ChatGPT at a far lower cost. Almost instantly, the world of investing was rocked, and naturally, Nvidia's stock fell precipitously. As investors continue to panic sell, the bull narrative surrounding Nvidia appears to have vanished all of a sudden. I'll go into depth about how DeepSeek has affected Nvidia thus far. I will also explain why I believe Nvidia will become the first $4 trillion stock on Wall Street and argue that the sell-off is exaggerated. Nvidia had a market valuation of $3.5 trillion before DeepSeek arrived. As of this writing on February 4th, Nvidia has lost about $600 billion in value. Considering that investors are still unsure of how DeepSeek may alter the course of Nvidia's company, this is a significant drop in value. The reason I say so is because the company has yet to release its fourth quarter 2024 profits, which it is not expected to do until February 26. According to market capitalization, Apple, Microsoft, and Nvidia are the three most valuable corporations in the world. One of these three businesses has the best probability, for the purposes of this essay, of becoming valued at $4 trillion before any of its competitors. A successful iPhone 16 launch and adoption rates of Apple's new artificial intelligence, AI, known as Apple Intelligence, are key factors in the company's stock price growth, as I previously discussed in an article. Although this is just my own view, I'm not quite sure that Apple Intelligence will change the game. Thus, I'm not sure whether investors will be eager to purchase Apple stock this year. I'm wondering where the stock might go, even though I think Microsoft has more room for growth than Apple. Microsoft's cloud computing infrastructure, Azure, is the source of a lot of the bull thesis around the corporation. Google Cloud Platform, GCP, and Amazon Web Services are fierce rivals of Azure. To stay informed about the latest developments from Nvidia and the ever-changing stock market, consider subscribing to our investing tutorial channel. We provide daily updates on significant market shifts and key catalysts, so hit that subscribe button to ensure you never miss crucial information. We'd love to hear your thoughts on Nvidia stock, so please share your opinions in the comments below. Now let's dive into today's video.
Really don't have strong reaction after earnings for the majority of these Mag 7. Now,
the only one you did was Meta.
Yeah, and we're waiting for Nvidia. So I could be wrong on that because Nvidia could turn around and appreciate significantly.
Well, I mean, Amy, Nvidia, Evercore today says the DeepSeek sell-off was an opportunity into the print. They want a tactical outperform. They do report on the 26th. So you got to wait a little bit. By the way, from the 13F, I saw that Tepper increased Nvidia position by 8%. A little small bump up. And, you know, that stock has obviously been in question. I know you laugh because it's a small bump up.
8%.
Well, for a big fish.
Yeah.
For a whale.
Right. I think Nvidia's quarter is going to be fine. You saw the capex numbers from all of these guys, and they were up huge, and that's going to be to their benefit. But from a long-term perspective, would I be adding to Nvidia right now? Probably not. We've owned it forever. We had clients who would kill us if we sold it at the end of last year. Those same clients are saying, you know what, you can sell some now. It's funny how when something goes down 25%, people are less in love with it, and that becomes a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. But look, Nvidia's a great company. They have a great position. The question in my mind is all about valuation. Should it be a $3 trillion company at this point?
Okay.
And I think that's fair.
Even while each of these cloud hyperscalers is spending billions on AI-powered services, it is impossible to ignore the fierce competition. Even though Azure is a strong company overall, it might be challenging to predict demand trends. I believe that an unpredictable business makes it difficult to meet investor expectations. Because of this, I believe that Microsoft stock is quite fragile and may see significant swings in either direction, depending on how investors perceive Azure's success and the company's AI initiatives. Regarding exact monetary amounts and the training techniques that DeepSeek employed to construct its model, known as R1, many factors remain unclear. But is Nvidia truly at risk here, even if the Chinese startup did make a scientific breakthrough by creating extremely powerful AI at a lower cost than previous models? I'll pose the identical query in a different way. How will investment on AI infrastructure change if companies can educate AI to follow less costly, more effective protocols? Jevons paradox states that spending would really increase. This topic examines how technological efficiencies might result in cheaper pricing. But ironically, when goods and services become more widely available, consumers end up paying more money. In other words, the need for Nvidia's services does not necessarily decline just because AI development may get less expensive over time. In fact, the opposite is true. I agree with this notion, and I believe that DeepSeek is the reason why demand for Nvidia's architecture may actually enter a new stage of expansion. Shares of Nvidia would need to increase 38% from their present levels as of February 4th in order to reach a $4 trillion valuation. I wouldn't be shocked to see the stock return to its pre-DeepSeek level if investors are happy with Nvidia's earnings report later this month. In that scenario, investors would only need to witness a 14% increase in share price to reach the $4 trillion value. I believe that a resurgence in Nvidia stock is quite possible if management can show that there is still a strong market for their processors. In my opinion, DeepSeek should ultimately help Nvidia, and I believe the company's stock may be on its way to new heights. Don't forget to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your input helps create a more knowledgeable community where we can all learn and grow together in the world of investing. Stay up to date with the latest market trends, insights, and key updates by subscribing to Investing Tutorial. We're here to help you make smarter investment decisions and stay ahead of the curve.